Hello and welcome to episode 434 of the Steel Cage podcast. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as Griff Garrison.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining us. That voice you heard, of course, from Boyle Heights. It's the one and only, the Neo X.
The portal is open. The portal is open.
Oh, we're going to talk about that portal being open. Yes. Also joining us from the same Matt Mania podcast that we stole Neo from. It's the host of the Matt Mania podcast, teacher, rapper, world-renowned, world record holder, and author, the one and only Mega Ran.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thanks for joining us to talk Royal Rumble and all sorts of fun wrestling stuff that's happened this week.
No problem.
Last but not least is the founder and proprietor of thesteelcage.com, Mr. Joshua Schlag.
Hey, and for those of you watching on YouTube, even I got a copy of the book. I don't read books. I listen to shit on Audible, but I bought this book. I'm excited. I'm gonna read it.
I got my wife's copy.
Well, Rand will read it to you.
I'm
wife
69
and I,
pages in.
nice. My wife and I we're taking a snowshoeing trip to like this yurt in the back country.
What?
That is the widest thing you've ever said in the
so
history of me knowing you, Joshua Schlag.
We are taking a snowshoeing trip. What?
We have to park our car in the snow and then take our snowshoes like a mile and a half to get to this yurt, and that's where we're staying for the night.
Where you will drink beef milk and eat avocado toast.
We have to bring all our own food and stuff, but they said that they provide firewood. But I mention it because I'm going to bring the book, and I won't have electronics and things, so I'm going to.
He's going to use your book for kindling.
Oh wait, you're going to light a fire with
it? Sounds like. It sounds like he's going to avoid his wife while reading a book, is what it sounds like, while they're trapped in a yurt. Good luck with that. Josh and his wife did find an igloo one time while they were just out on one of their snowshoe strolls, and that was pretty amazing to me that there was just an igloo.
It was a 2-room igloo. These fuckers built a 2-room igloo. Like,
it was
out
incredible.
In the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
We figured out that it was built by like backcountry skiers, and like they just set this igloo up and they camped there, and after they were done with it, they just left it. So yeah, we crawled inside. It was awesome.
I have a legitimate question about an igloo. Is there a real use to it? Like, can it really give you shelter, or is it just more of a cute thing to do, like building a snowman?
So I've learned since spending time in the snow now, like if you dig down into the snow, like just being down underneath the top of the snow level in the pack, like it's automatically a little bit warmer. And then like inside an igloo, you have that, it like blocks out all the wind and everything. Like it's nice and it's helpful. Like you'd still definitely need like a freezing level sleeping bag and stuff to make it work, but it's doable.
Sure. Well, that's what this podcast is about now, you guys. This podcast is about walking in snowshoes and igloos now.
That's the Idaho life.
Josh, do we have any emails perchance?
Yeah.
Perchance.
Yeah, we do.
Well, let's hear that email. That one email we have that I knew we already had.
We've got an email from Dante. He writes, "Hey guys,
Dante.
Let's start this email off right. 100 milligrams to the face," he says.
I'll
leave that to Dante. I'll leave that to Uncle Beak,
Look,
who's not.
Beak's not here, but we appreciate Dante doing it in his absence.
Yeah. So Dante says, so I just found MLW a few months ago when you guys were talking about Fatu, and it got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I could if I could sign one wrestler to WWE, AEW, or New Japan, I guess from MLW, who would it be, and what would I have them do? And he kind of like threw together his dream scenario. Or actually, he threw together a whole bunch of stuff. But I don't know. Maybe from there, like if you guys have anything that jumps out to you, I'll let you jump in.
I've already put this out there in the universe. I mean, Gotch's contract ended Monday. He's freelancing. He's a freelancer now. He should go to New Japan, join Suzuki-gun, and just tear shit up.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
That's it. That's all I want to see in the world.
I don't hate that at all.
I would like to see that.
Because Suzuki currently is floundering, in my opinion. They lost their heaters. They only have Zack Sabre Jr., and their junior division is good, but I think Suzuki needs another foil because Zack is currently
Bullet Club was.
Kind of, yeah, because Zack is currently partnering with Taichi, leaving Suzuki kind of like by himself. So therefore, I feel like if he had a heater with Simon Gotch, and he's notorious for bringing in heaters. He had Shelton Benjamin, of course, Lance Archer. What was the other guy? He was the British Bulldog. What was his name?
Davey Boy Jr.
Davey Boy Jr. Thank you.
Yeah.
So he needs another heater in there.
Well, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that at all.
Perfect answer.
My lady.
We're doing that this early. Okay, I'll take a local guy, just somebody I absolutely love, and that's Alexander Hammerstone. I think he would be great in
He's
WWE.
Totally on steroids. Like he's gassed all the time.
Calm down. That's why I think he'd be great in WWE.
Weren't they talking about that on the most recent Hogsman?
Yeah. He's always on the gas.
He's always gas. Yeah, he's I don't know. He's a lot of fun to watch. I think that he's at a point in his career where he's developed a lot of personality to go with the Meat Castle. And I don't know. I think that he's one of those guys that WWE would push significantly for some reason.
I can see
mostly because of the physique.
Yeah.
Ran, anybody you thought of?
Well,
from MLW.
Okay, specifically from MLW, I feel like I was going to say the same about Hammerstone. I agree. I think I could see him moving pretty quickly through NXT and like really being like a player on Raw for sure. Like that would be my guy. I mean, we already talked about Fatu and Gotch. So yeah, I'd like to see any of those, to be honest. I think they'd all make a really good good splash.
Well, they could really solidify the Samoan dynasty on SmackDown. Like if Roman Reigns is doing the head of the table gimmick, he should invite some more members to his table. Like any of the Fatus from MLW. Why the hell not? They'd be good heaters for him.
Yeah, that would be it'd be dope. It'd be dope to have a solid big Samoan faction Samoan. Also Selena De La Renta from MLW is just an incredible talent. I think that again, she's somebody that would need to go to like something like WWE or AEW. Like she'd be great with AEW because I know at times their women's division can use some more character. I think Britt Baker does an absolutely outstanding job, but I think that with all the pure wrestlers that they have as women wrestlers, they don't have enough characters, and that's something that
they have like Abaddon and Thunder Rosa, but you're right. Like outside of them, like everybody else have like a fighter, and then like Tay Conte and Ali J are like with the inner circle sort of.
Yeah, and she's just a fucking boss, right? So I'm just thinking from like being on the mic and that kind of stuff that she can do, that she's been doing for MLW. I think she was like the commissioner for a while and shit. Like she's been really versatile and very talented, and I think she's definitely one of those talents that will be stolen from somebody for somebody very soon. MLW is great, but they're definitely a breeding ground for talent that then moves up to that next level, right? I mean, As nice as it would be to talk about them being equal, they're just not there yet. But they definitely have some great talent. Filthy Tom Lawler is another guy that just seems like he belongs somewhere else besides that, but he's doing an excellent job there. Defy in Seattle also.
Well, Tom Lawler also works in New Japan right now in Lions Break.
Oh, does he?
Or New Japan Strong. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, well, that seems like a good place for him as well. And what I was saying was Defy in Seattle has a television deal now that's coming up, so that's really cool for them because they've put on a really strong product.
So
for
is
years.
PCW apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, PCW is
cool.
doing a TV deal coming soon.
Cool.
I think
Just
it's going to
really-
be on Pluto or something like that. Something obscure.
Okay. Pluto's coming on. I've been seeing ads for that lately.
Yeah.
Well, I think wrestling organizations like Defy and stuff like that are just kind of cool, man. I mean, they are different, and like I love the dark smokiness of whenever I see their matches and their shows, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with a television product. You know, it's going to be interesting. The way that AEW has kind of moved around and partnered with so many wrestling organizations recently makes this whole thing just that seem that much more open. It's like what Neo said when we started the podcast. The portal is open. We're going to talk about AEW, but of course, we have some more big stories to talk about, including the results of the Royal Rumble and little news to get to before we go on, which is that Lars Sullivan announced today that he has released from WWE. Oddly enough, WWE did not announce that they released Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan had to announce that he was released.
So are you telling me that he was not wished the best? You know, he was not
He
wished
was
the best
not-
in his future
No
endeavors.
future endeavors?
No, he was not. There was no future endeavor talk for Mr. Lars Sullivan. He had to give an interview with Fightful to kind of describe what had happened and why he departed with WWE. Now, I will give him a lot of credit. The Fightful interview that he did was probably the best thing that he's done as a public figure. He was open, he was honest, he talked a lot about a lot of different things that happened to him, right? But basically, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was he got let go for no showing shows, is basically what he got let go for. He didn't really get let go for, with all of the other controversies surrounding him. A big thing that he
was
let
his
go
official reason.
that was the official reason that made him put him in the doghouse. That was the official reason.
That's what they wrote on paper. Called
Right.
no show, your job.
Yeah, exactly. They ended him. They ended his career with the company over that, or his time with the company. He admitted
during,
to
like pandemic times, no showing. Like,
this was during November of last year, October of last year. Like his
Okay,
official
yeah.
last match on TV was of October of last year.
Wow.
So he confessed basically to having just crippling anxiety, like not being able to eat, not being able to sleep. That being, the television tapings and being on TV for especially the main roster just amplified his anxiety to a point where not only couldn't perform, he couldn't really live a normal life, it seemed like. He talked a lot about that. So as much as we all give Lars Sullivan just the hardest time and really disliked him as a character and everything he brought, it's odd how much this one interview that, like, he was really honest and open, really seemed to like make him likable. He talked like a lot of the stuff we didn't like, it was even directed for him to do from WWE, right? So there were stupid things he did, like breathing through his nose all heavily while he was giving those interviews at one point with with Michael Cole. He was told to do that. Like, they specifically told him to do that. So there's stuff like that they did that, or there was especially, I guess, one backstage official had said that the shirtless interviews he did were like a test. And if they were a test, he passed him because he did pretty good, all things considered, that they made him go out and do these really awkward, like, shirtless interviews. And I don't know, man. I mean, I think some people like him are kind of doomed from the beginning because they're just pulled in so many different directions, and you mix that with the fact that they're never obviously he was never made to feel comfortable doing TV before he was put into a pretty big spotlight. It's odd to me considering their ability to give someone plenty of time in NXT or even pre-NXT to get comfortable with that kind of situation before they put them in the main roster limelight, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. So you feel like, I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of his like come up, but it was through NXT, and I mean, I would imagine he was there a few months getting accustomed to things, and then maybe it just all happened too fast for him, where they're like, "All right, you are ready," and he's like, "No, I'm not," and hoping for a little more time, and then you just get that, you get that call, you got to take it.
Meanwhile, Johnny Gargano's been there for like 15 years. Shit, man. Like, what is going on? I don't even get it. Right?
I don't know if that's a graduation thing for him. I feel like they want him there to kind of
and I think it's his choice. I think it was his choice as well.
I don't think a lot of guys get choice, to be honest, but I feel like they want them to kind of be there to bring up new guys. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure how much talent has a choice in that stuff. But
yeah, I agree with that. And even though things have kind of taken a step back with, what we say about NXT, like for a little while, it felt like they were kind of elevating it on a similar level to Raw and SmackDown, and now not so much. But
it just happened tonight. I mean, not to give anything away. I don't know if you saw it, but I think they went back to the idea of like,
a little bit.
Hey, third brand, we kind of like it, Yeah. So, with bringing Edge back there, I feel like that's what a little bit of that was. Like,
regardless, it is a third brand and it's meant to be strong, whether it's on the same level or not. Hopefully it is, and it should be. But yeah, I mean, like they have those guys who are, they kind of seem like, like when Finn Balor going back there, for example, it's not a demotion. And the way he's carrying things and everything that Undisputed Era has been doing. And, we keep on like fantasy booking Undisputed Era coming up to the main roster or whatever, but they don't need to. Like, they're kicking ass and tearing it up and holding it down. And, them, Johnny, like all those guys, they're making NXT what it is. And it's awesome.
I agree. I just read something, I don't know how true it was, that Aleister Black asked to go back and they were like, nah. And so I think he's done. Like, I feel like he's done.
That's rough. That's rough happened? Because that guy has so much to offer, right? His character is there, his athletic skill is there, like he's unique. There's zero reason why that shouldn't work out.
Do you think Vince gets sour on him because of Zelina, or like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything of that.
Or is he sour on WWE because of that, right?
Or maybe,
like, like I've constantly been impressed with Lana, for instance, because she has pressed on and she has done everything she can to make herself a completely different, rejuvenated character versus what she was when Rusev was there. And she seems dedicated to it. She's not going through the motions. She seems like she's making a legitimate push, or WWE is making a legitimate push to give her an opportunity. I think it's all about what you do while you're there and how your attitude is, especially after something like that. They're not dumb. They know that when they fired your spouse, that things aren't going to be great, right? So I think they look to see how you react and how you step up. A lot of WWE is a test. Going back to what Neo said, I can't completely agree with you guys that Johnny Gargano is in an NXT just because WWE wants him there, right? There has to be a little bit of them being like, hey, are you cool with this? And Johnny being like, yep, and maybe he's too much of a company guy, right? Like in a corporate world, they want you to agree. They want you to be this thing they call a positive agent of change. And they want you to go along with everything. But in WWE, it's weird. They put you through these tests, kind of like what we were talking about with Lars in a shirtless interview. They put you through these tests where they want to see if you are going to actually resist this thing they're asking you to do. Unfortunately, sometimes going along with the flow is how you get put into the mid card or get put into a comedy gimmick or whatever.
Well,
But if you can get through that, then maybe maybe there's positive things on the other side. So
and I guess
it's just a weird mindfuck.
And with that in mind, I just feel like they have decisions on where they go, because ultimately what dictate that? A contract. You're signed to NXT. I don't think you're going to sign a contract, and this is just me maybe being too naive, but I would assume that there should be a contract negotiation if you're going to go to the main roster.
Well, it's more of a promotion, but yes, you are an
But
independent
there would need to
so
be some sort of contract renegotiation, and that's just up to the talent
they just tell you you're getting paid more, and they put the contract down, and then you sign it because you're excited.
Again, it could be me being naive, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm just assuming, they're different brands, I would imagine, because each brand has a different TV offering, has a different, schedule, so on and so forth, that you would have to be in agreement to that in some way, shape, or form.
Well, we've heard that NXT makes a certain amount. Like, we don't know for sure because, again, it's speculated. There hasn't been any
they make an hourly wage
facts released. Well, I mean, I heard people at NXT were making like $50,000 a year, which it's no knock as a professional wrestler, but that's not like life-changing money to be putting, your career completely in WWE's camp, when a lot of independent guys could make way more than that on their own, potentially. Yeah. Maybe not during COVID. Maybe that's different now, but
yeah, that's true.
Who knows? I think that this is an ever-changing world. I think that WWE is going to go through losing some of these guys that they bring on that just don't work out. We're starting to see that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Aleister Black fall out. He had such a great NXT run. I could understand how he would be disappointed with what they're utilizing him as the main roster, are on the main roster. Plus, I'm still mad they never even thought for a second to get him involved with the Undertaker in any way, shape, or form. That just infuriates me. So that's a whole other thing. All right, we have so much to talk about tonight. Royal Rumble happened this past Sunday. We watched it. We had a great time. We did our normal gambling on it and had had some fun. It despite my internet being the worst for all sorts of reasons, but
there was multipliers to that.
There were multipliers to that. Yes, we had people at the house, including children, that wanted to download whole video games while we were watching Royal Rumble.
I thought I heard some yelling about that going on.
Yeah.
Well, there was a gambit behind that, Derek. So you worked yourself into a shoot.
I did work myself into a shoot, brother. But we still enjoyed the Royal Rumble matches very much. I think that everything delivered. I want to briefly touch on the other matches besides the Royal Rumble matches, but for me, I thought that, to be honest, they did the best job that they could have with a Drew McIntyre Goldberg match. I think everybody at our viewing party, the few of us that were there, were on the edge of our seat watching that match, because none of us wanted Goldberg to win, and we were all just terrified as they were going down the typical path that they do for a Goldberg victory in WWE. I thought they swerved us pretty well. I still don't understand what the point of that match even happening was, but I was pretty happy with the outcome.
Yeah. Every time you go into a Goldberg match, you just got to treat it like the video game. Like, everybody's coming in with full finishers, and they're going to spam the shit out of those to see what happens.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
But to respond to that, I had a brief little interchange with some random dude on Twitter, and I was kind of like, Goldberg, I don't get it, whatever. And he mentioned YouTube, and I was like, good point. So I went over to YouTube and I looked up the Royal Rumble clips that they had posted, and right now it's Bad Bunny with all the views. But number two, it's Goldberg. And you go back and you click on all the other WWE Goldberg clips, Goldberg gets views like crazy. And I don't know who these people are who are just that's the video I gotta catch. I don't know. I don't get it, but it's there. It's a thing. So that's what it's about.
I feel like people are searching for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they think it's Goldberg.
That was the problem 20 years ago.
Like, oh, it's Stone Cold. Wait, no, it's just Goldberg.
I will say this. Goldberg became popular in a time when wrestling was at the height of its popularity. It's the high water mark.
Yeah.
Wrestling will never be as popular again. I don't think anything will be as popular again as wrestling was.
People could still be spelling Gilberg's name correctly because the I and the O are pretty close together.
Right.
So
definitely.
looking for Gilbert.
By the way, they trotted him out on SmackDown right before that, and it really pleased me. God bless you, Gilbert.
I'm all for it anytime he shows up.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I think that's the thing, is that wrestling was really popular at one point, and it was really mainstream, and Goldberg was just one of those names that a lot of people knew because it was easy to hear about this guy's ridiculous winning streak and to tune in and to see his match, which lasted like a whole 12 seconds. You know, I think that it sticks with people and they remember it, so they are excited to hear that he's wrestling and go check it out. I don't understand it myself, and I've been conflicted many times about why they would do this. I still don't think that it did anything for Drew McIntyre, and especially if they weren't going to give him the win, I don't understand how this doesn't fall under the Roman Reigns category of putting away yet another legend, you know, that or his first legend, I would say, because he hasn't done it yet, but just that heel thing to end someone's career. You know, the handshake at the end of the match and everything.
Well, they were
it didn't whatever. You know, it
super
was
huggable too. Like it was kind of like Goldberg was eating his words, and that's the thing. Like his whole promo leading up to it was abysmal.
It was dumb. It didn't even make any sense. To Drew.
I couldn't get behind it. That was the thing. Like I just
Drew's the sweetest guy. You know,
You disrespected me. Like what? What do you mean? How? You didn't say it, but you're thinking that we're
Goldberg was literally the old man yelling at the cloud. You know, he was Grandpa Simpson yelling at the cloud.
That were not there.
Exactly.
That would have made so much more sense to flip it and have maybe him do that with Roman. And you know what I mean? Like if it would have made more sense for Roman to be
everything would have made sense. He could have cut the same promo and it would have been against Roman. We would have been sitting there going, yeah, I get what this is about.
You had the opportunity, spear, isn't it? You had the opportunity to elevate Drew McIntyre with an epic defense. And I say defense because we wanted him to win, but put him against a bulldog that he can defend the title against and make him look like a fucking superstar. You know, this 4-minute exhibition match.
Guys, this is the Royal Rumble. This is the one of the big four. It's probably the number 1 or 2. I mean, not obviously number 1, but probably the number 2 bought, you know, back in the buy rate days pay-per-view, and probably number 2 watched outside of WrestleMania. This is absolutely for the casuals, you know, and the casuals are going to recognize Edge, they're going to recognize Goldberg, and they're going to love it. So this show was not for us. Half of it was the women's Rumble.
You know what the one thing about this though is that Royal Rumble seems to be hands down everybody's favorite pay-per-view, right? It, you know, which it should be WrestleMania, but it's not, because realistically WrestleMania or wrestling as a whole is about the storytelling, and it's kind of about like fantasy booking and imagining where it's going to go and all of that. Like there's a big deal when it comes to the mystery of where we're headed with wrestling. And I think that's why the Royal Rumble is everybody's favorite pay-per-view. That mystery is so there when it comes to, especially at the end of the night now, you don't know who's going to win, and it could be anybody because there's 30 guys and then one guy wins, and now you don't know which belt he's going to challenge for or how this is going to go. It's fun because of that mystery. It's kind of like you know, the WandaVision on Disney Plus, right? There's this big confusion for the first 3 episodes about what the hell is going on with that show, and then you got the 4th episode coming in like a fucking thunderstorm, just bringing all the answers, bringing all the thunder with it, all the lightning. But the intrigue and mystery that was kind of set there in the first couple of episodes helps to make this show, you know, that much more interesting and that much more of a mystery to us watching, right? So I just think that's there with wrestling. I think too many times they forget that That's why we don't get the big surprises like we used to in pro wrestling, or at least in WWE. You know, I'll jump to AEW and say AEW is doing a fantastic job of mixing things up, having surprises, and not like telling you what's going to happen before the end of, you know, not advertising some big name that's going to be on the show at the end of the night, just surprising with you with it at the end of the night, you know, like they did tonight at the what's the name of the show? Beach Bash?
Beach thingy. Yeah.
Can't be Bash at the beach, so it's something else.
Beach break.
Well, I'll give you one WWE surprise. I was surprised at the fact that how many, like, depending on how many apples you eat, you can get a 6-pack. You know?
Yes. So that's very true. If
like
if
you just eat more apples, you will instantly get a 6-pack.
Are you not fucking excited I am that Carlito is back in WWE? I am fucking excited. That is awesome. Exciting. That's somebody who deserves to be there. And more than anything, on his indie career, Carlito formed this wonderful friendship with Chris Masters, who was also let go from WWE around the same time as him. And even though Carlito is getting this opportunity to be back with the company that he deserves to be with, and getting this opportunity once again to be on Raw and be at the Royal Rumble, he's still on Twitter trying to get Chris Masters also signed back to WWE, and I can respect the hell out of that.
That's dope.
What a guy, you know. Oh man, lots of fun surprises. Royal Rumble was great. Before we move to the match, I did want to talk about Roman versus Kevin Owens, because I feel like that was the big actual championship match that we got. I felt like it was great. I thought it delivered in every way that it should, and to be honest, it once again furthers my position that I want Roman to continue to hold the belt forever, you know.
And apparently he has Jason Ayers in his pocket.
Oh yeah. Oh, let's talk about the terrible ending. Let's talk about the terrible because this match,
great match,
this match almost had everything. I laughed harder at Roman Reigns hitting Kevin Owens with the golf cart harder than I've laughed at a lot of things in my life. I don't think I've laughed with that much joy.
I was right next to you.
My soul.
It was infectious.
It's pretty great.
It was delightful. There was a lot of great things about that, but the match ended with this weird situation where Kevin Owens cleverly handcuffed Roman Reigns to a pillar backstage, at which point Paul Heyman was supposed to come free him before a 10 count could be made.
Apparently Ned doesn't know how to use a key. Like, never used the key in his life.
Paul has never, well, because of course he hasn't. He has doormen and shit to unlock doors and open car doors for him and all of
never
that.
Been arrested.
Never been arrested, right? Nope. Never, you know, when he was a kid, he didn't ride a bike to school or any shit like that. He was in a fancy car getting rides and shit.
Yeah, never used the lock. Didn't have a locker.
He had a combo lock. That's what I always had, as a combo lock.
No, he had an automatic lock with a button.
What I don't get is, and I think this has been brought up multiple times, is like why the replacement referee, because the first one got knocked out, why the replacement referee, why Jason had to be out there starting the count. Like they had, like, from a production standpoint, they had to have this conversation about, you know, like Paul's got to get out there and unlock the brace for Roman and all that. But and like the fact that they decided to have the referee start the count, and then that gives Paul a limited amount of time to make that happen. And we've watched pro wrestling, like they always fumble around with unlocking things, whether it's handcuffs or like a chain around at the cage. Or
it was an unlimited amount of time.
This happens. But yeah, so we I think the count got to 6, and then it kind of just trailed off, and
I think he literally walked away. I think he just walked. he just
oh wait, this isn't my match. Why am I here? This is not my match.
Why am I even out here?
Pro wrestlers are fantastic at improvising, and I believe that Paul Heyman's generally fantastic at improvising. And I know, like, it's not Paul Heyman's character to get physical, But it would have made just so much sense if Paul just popped up and just gave him a shove or just something, you know?
Screamed at him or something. Yeah, just something.
Yeah, like nothing broke the count. He just stopped. So that was
Jimmy Uso could have super kicked Jason or doinked him, something.
well, there was so much happening. So I'm just trying to think. Maybe I need to watch it again to figure out. So you said he stopped at like a 5 count. He's waiting for Paul to open, get the key going. And apparently it's not happening. But like, I was like, oh, they can get to 9 and then stop it. You know what I mean? Like, but to just give up halfway through your 10 count.
We're not even close. Shit.
Like,
and you know what? Oddly enough, WWE has been asked to call things like they would as a shoot, but not this type of match. Like, you can't.
Yeah, no, not with Roman. Roman just has too much behind him right now. It's just too important for him to keep the belt for a significant amount of time.
Totally, I get that.
I don't even feel that same way about Drew. I understand what they're doing with Drew. I know we're going to get to Edge being the winner of the Royal Rumble, but when Edge came out and confronted Drew on Monday night, I felt like it was all of us talking to Drew, right? Mm-hmm. I felt like it was the collective WWE universe being like, hey, what the fuck? Stop being everybody's friend. Stop coming out here and shaking everybody's goddamn hand. What is wrong with you? This is fucking wrestling, right? Like, there's something about Edge saying that was like a wake-up call to Drew to stop doing that. And maybe the significance of it is that they're going to have him change character, maybe be a little bit more of a, maybe a little more of a badass. Maybe they have a little bit more of an edge to himself. Drew has been entirely too nice when the person that he's facing is some sort of face or legend of some kind. He always needs to give due respect and wish that, may the best man win and all of that kind of shit. And
you hope to get that from Sheamus, because Sheamus, I feel like, is going to be that foil for Drew to actually have an actual legit defense, because Sheamus is a monster. And that clash is going to help elevate Drew, in a better platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But we'll get back to that definitely. Now, we also had a women's championship match, and we had the women's tag team championships defended and lost on the pre-show when we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler reclaimed them from Asuka and Charlotte once again with some little interference from Nate, little interference from Lacey Evans.
Shenanigans.
I still like this story a lot. I still love Gold Digger Lacey Evans, and just, of course, Ric Flair would. He absolutely would. Mm-hmm. This is the most believable in character thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're fucking.
I need no convincing of that. I don't even think they're fucking. I think she just lets him see a titty every now and again. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that. You know what I mean? I think it's that little. But I think he takes it, and I would too. I get where he's coming from. You know, I have a daughter. I'd turn on her for a hot piece of ass. Also, I'm very interested to see what happens further. Going forward, just with this story. I think like things like this is what reminds me of what I like in pro wrestling. You could have a great rivalry, you could have all this build up, all this shit. Still, I just like a storyline of like, Gold Digger getting in with some girl's father and messing with her wrestling career. Like, that's still just one of my favorite things. But yeah, we had obviously we had the Royal Rumble matches, some really, really great matches, and I mean, honestly, some great winners, but some fun stuff that happened during both of these matches. The women's match, I thought, was particularly outstanding. It ended with some weird controversy that people decided to make up, even though it really wasn't there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Bianca Belair did come out on top as the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. Some controversy due to a picture that looks a little bit like Bianca's feet are on the ground, even though if you're watching the video, it shows clearly she wasn't. I did very much like the end of this match between her and Rhea Ripley. But more than anything, I just loved the match as a whole. I think that they have done an absolutely outstanding job with the women's division and, creating formidable challengers that, I think Bianca was everybody's like personal, favorite. I think Bianca was the one that so many of us wanted
personal
to see.
pick to win it for sure.
Yeah. And even though we didn't think you might not have thought she was actually going to, but I think it's who we all wanted to win. Like, she's just deserved it. She's killed it on SmackDown, and ever since she's been on the main roster, she's just been this original breath of fresh air. I think that everything she does is just different from everything we've seen before.
She's definitely trying to be her. She's not trying to be someone who she ain't. And the character from NXT was a natural progression to the main roster. Therefore, it rose and flourished organically, because what's a better gimmick than just being the best? She's the best personified. It's simple, and everybody can get behind that. And she can do that anyway, babyface or heel. I mean, she's got so much sway on either side of the fence, man. Either way she likes to cut it, she'll be successful, no doubt.
It's like Mega Ran said, she's the WrestleManiaist.
She's the WrestleManiaist. Dude, can we talk about at least in my opinion, the worst part of the match, where we get like an impromptu 24/7 R-Truth run in?
Why do they need to do that? Like, it's so weird.
It made it ha-ha. Like, it just made it ha-ha. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't like I do not like it when they try to inject men into the women's thing. Like, I hate it. I feel like it's totally sexist. Like,
it's so demeaning.
Why are you doing this? You wouldn't
particularly this
Rumble.
Right. This wasn't even like something that related to it. I know what you're saying, Rand, because they always had to have like Santino come out and drag or something like that just, in some way demeans what the women are doing. I know Santino wasn't around when they were doing the women's Royal Rumble, but maybe he was in one of them. I'm pretty sure he was, but anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
He did come out once. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And this is just one of those same kind of things like what you're talking about. This just seemed even worse because it was like, oh, we're just going to have a match in the middle of the women's Royal Rumble. Right? Like, that's what it seemed like to me. And I appreciate the fact that even though there wasn't a single woman watching this show with us, we all collectively groaned when this happened. Like, we were all like, oh, come on. Really? Like, I thought we were past doing this.
I feel like maybe I'm the person who kind of disagrees. I will not. I'm not. I don't mean to disparage the point at all, because maybe they shouldn't do this again. But I don't know. As far as the flow of this particular match went, like, it felt to me like it kind of came at like a good time, where it was almost like, this is kind of like an intermission of the whole match. We're gonna go do something else, and then we're gonna come right back to it. And like, I think it was particularly good that Alicia Fox, didn't stay in the ring, and they made like the 24/7 championship a part of the match itself, going back and forth. I think that would have been like way too much. So it was just sort of a thing that happened for a couple minutes, and then they moved on. Like, I'm okay with it this one time, at least.
I will agree with you that there's these lulls in the match where there's only so much watching people hold on to the top rope and try to force other people over that you can do. I think that one thing they really did well with both of these matches was to get us through those points. Like, these matches just flowed, and it felt like it was, especially with spotty internet connections, it felt like everything was exciting and happening way too fast at times. I thought that there was definitely some moments in, there's those moments, but I feel like the women's Royal Rumble has come a long way. I think that WWE's handling of women's wrestling has come a long way. It still can use a little work, but you got to appreciate the fact that, they put on a fantastic match and truly had one of the best finishes, we've seen in a long time. I loved Rhea and Bianca just looking at each other for that moment, being like, let's get back in and let's do this right.
Yes.
You know, that moment on the ring apron and everything was
great.
just great, man. And I think they're both super bright stars for the women's division, but Bianca is now, you know, and she is definitely the right choice. I think she's just an incredible talent, you know. It's hard to see somebody that isn't somehow, you know, emulating some other wrestler that they grew up watching, you know. And I know we've touched on this before, but that's the thing that just is really special to me about Bianca. She's just her own person. And I mean, it's probably her background and probably the fact that she's not a wrestling fan and didn't grow up, you know, as part of wrestling and all of this, but came into this, you know, just as an athlete. But her attitude and everything just seems so genuine. Her reaction to winning, you know, made me tear up. Like, she was so legitimately happy about winning this, and it's kind of refreshing to see someone not be an actor but just have like true raw emotions about winning, you know, something this big. It's a big deal. It's Royal Rumble.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, so we also had the men's match, which again, another really fun match, very memorable moments.
Real quick before we move on from the women's match, like I kind of want to shout out, like we had like some return appearances and things like that. The one thing I want to highlight myself is the kind of who I thought was the MVP of the first third of the match, just from an entertainment standpoint of keeping things loose a little bit, was Billie Kay.
Yes, indeed.
I haven't, again, you know, as somebody who hasn't been watching, like, I don't know what she was up to, but when she came out there with that stack of headshots with the resume on the back and everything, like, it didn't take too long where I was like, oh, she's trying to make an alliance. Like, she's figuring things out. And when Jillian Hall's music hit at number 8, it was just like, this is perfect. Like, I loved that moment. I loved everything she was doing. It was very, very entertaining. So I just wanted to call that out.
No, she was fantastic. And then you also had the moment that she kind of reunited with Peyton Royce as the Iconics for a brief moment. Cool too. And but then you still had Ruby Riott looking at her because she's been trying to become part of the Riott Squad. So Ruby Riott looked at her and was like, what the hell, man? I thought you were with us now. Like, all of that was great. Like, no offense to Peyton Royce, but I definitely think Billie Kay was the entertaining, you know, factor in the Iconics, right? So like, it seems like whatever situation they put her in,
we even had like an Iconics reunion that was like super cute to watch, and then you see Ruby Riott kind of appear, and then she goes, can't say Iconic. Nope.
It was really well done.
Sorry.
It was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So yeah, no, she's been fantastic. And yeah, I Jillian Hall, all of the legends that they have come back. Like,
dude, seeing Victoria come back,
Victoria,
like, finally after all these years.
Tori, yeah, Victoria was great. She was always one of my favorites. I have a widow's peak, so of course, you know, solidarity.
Yeah, it was also Jerry Lawler's favorite.
Oh, don't know. Well, they're all Jerry Lawler's favorite. Perv.
Why did they have him commentating the Women's Rumble again?
Weird.
I don't want Jerry Lawler there anymore. Like, normal people are just randomly tweeting, "Hey, did you know Jerry Lawler like had sex with an underage girl?" Yeah, like, it's so weird how common knowledge it is now. Yet WWE still has this guy on television just commentating matches.
I like the way that we watched it because I had to have the volume down. You know, I couldn't have the volume like super loud because I had the Zoom call going on at the same time. So I didn't really hear the announcers. I don't know who was announcing. I didn't know Jerry Lawler was announcing. I just saw the things. I heard the noises and the music coming from the TV. And then my commentary was just kind of like me and my wife sitting next to me and you guys on Zoom. Like, that was it. That was honestly.
Did you get any of that G1 commentary? He probably called the matches, right?
I was thought of that.
I'm sure
he called the whole match.
And some random freestyling in there. Yeah.
No,
that's why Josh didn't hear Jerry Lawler. He had
G1 on commentary. Dude, on the network should allow you to turn down or off commentary and just
that'd
get
be
like,
great.
the crowd noise, or maybe, that'd be cool to have a slider, like a video game.
They
Just be
still
Or like a
commentary,
DJ.
You know what's weird is to watch other events that has fake crowd noise and have WWE still be not right. Like it's gotten much better than it was, but it's still just kind of weird at times, and
It's definitely a lot better. I think we look at it as kind of corny when they do stuff like "This is awesome" chants, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so you
Because we have
decided that
fedoras.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, like who decided that this was awesome?
Hey man, trust me, I've been in the virtual seat before. They will tell you exactly what to do. You will clap now, show Roman the love. You will clap for him. Boo this guy. You don't like this guy. Like
that sounds like just a horrible viewing.
Oh, I
experience.
still have.
Why
I
would you
still have,
sign up
like,
for that again?
I will never sign up for it again. I have like PTSD from it. I still hear it in my sleep.
Just imagine someone in
Clap,
your ear,
clap for him.
or someone sitting right next to you. Like you take a kid to a wrestling show and you're like, clap for that guy. Boo him. He sucks. Boo him. Boo him.
Yeah, that's what
Like,
going to a wrestling show with Sprung is like. Yeah, that's exactly what going with Sprung is like. He just says really foul things to the wrestlers as loudly as he can.
That's fair, but like he's not telling you what to do.
Oh no, he's telling me what to do too. He's like,
okay.
"Shut up, asshole! Don't mute for that guy." Yeah, like he's doing that.
Thanks.
He's a bad person to watch shows with. We have the men's match again. Going back to that, so many fun moments. Obviously, starting off with Edge and Orton. Orton going down early and just being gone for the entire match.
But again, fedoras on, brothers. Like you knew, like
the minute he left, you knew what the fuck was gonna happen.
You gotta stop doing that. The whole he's gone, and you're like, come on, like it literally happens. Like
it would have been more believable if he would have gotten like knocked out or put through some sort of table and come like after the fact. Like that would have been more believable than let's put the camera on him and walk him outside.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he's got super mutant healing powers because his face was just burned to raw shit a week before, and then he comes out in the Royal Rumble and is just literally fine. Just fine without a
I was wondering, like, man, was he gonna have the mask on? But
no mask, no scars, no nothing.
Just guava marmalade on his.
Just put the fucking guava marmalade on his face again.
On his face, and then it miraculously just took away the dark circles away from his eyes.
He put aloe. That's all it needed. Aloe and some accolado. That's it. But I thought that is like that's such a lazy trope, right? There's these lazy trope that they've been doing lately just to death. The other one that WWE has just literally beaten the fuck out of is, hey, we used to be friends and now we hate each other. Like
Sheamus and McIntyre.
Well, that's the oldest trope in wrestling. It's like bitter outside of the evil foreigner, like the best friends, better enemies has been a thing forever in wrestling.
No, and I'm not against it, but it's just so transparent when they all of a sudden need to create this best friendship, especially with WWE's timelines where they need to do it in a hurry. You can tell from the minute they start doing it where this is eventually going to go.
They always have to go back to the well. They always have to go back to the well.
They'll be looking at some baby pictures together and shit. Oh, remember when we were in kindergarten together? You're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Here's one moment that I think was kind of an opportunity lost, but I know that it's 30 spots and you gotta, you want your surprises, you want your moments, you want people to look good. I think they really missed an opportunity, as great as the Hurt Business has been, for there to be a moment where they would use their numbers to an advantage. As far as I know, Cedric MVP didn't show up, so you just got Bobby on his own. Like I would have liked to seen, they could have utilized that for a couple of even eliminations. Like
the only team that quote unquote had the opportunity to do that was the New Day, and that was,
and they technically aren't a team anymore.
Yeah,
it was
good point.
Woods knee. So yeah, I thought that was a missed opportunity. Even if didn't have a spot for MVP and Cedric, that's fine. But at least have them accompany him to the ring. and hang out.
They could have
pull
been
somebody's
lumberjacks.
leg, you know,
maybe even catch him on one of the times where
Yeah, they could have been lumberjacks for him.
Exactly. I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity.
You're right, because the Hurt Business is like the dominant faction right now in WWE. Technically, they really are. I mean,
yeah,
you have a couple here and there, but they're the only ones with multiple championships.
They hold most of the gold.
Yeah, they got all this gold, and they just
I'm with you.
Also, I mean, Retribution, like for whatever it's worth, if you know whether you think they're worth the time or not, they don't appear, they don't help Ali. Like a little strange. You know,
it's not strange, it's just multi layers of storytelling, you know what I mean? And
like there was an opportunity to hide below the ring. Like I was hoping for that spot and it never came up.
It's because at the end of the day they do these very little amounts to further rivalries between these guys while they're in the Rumble, but aside from that they don't really care. They're just sitting there aside from that going, oh well, we should make sure we make like Ali like eliminate Xavier just so we can keep this thing with New Day and Retribution going. Like that's it. It's really a lack of passion. It's a lack of wanting to put the small details and the effort in. We appreciate the small details. We notice them. We love them. That's the things that sometimes make this stuff memorable to us. I try my best not to fast forward through wrestling shows anymore because I've realized that when I miss the small stuff, it makes it kind of bland. But the commentary mixed with things that happen in the match and everything mixed together can sometimes make a wrestling show fun and entertaining. And if you're not paying attention to all of it or you're not catching all of it, you can miss out on that. Unfortunately, at times with WWE, when I do pay attention to everything, there's not very much there, you know. They didn't put in those details, they didn't fill in the gaps, they didn't make cool small connections between people, you know. Like one thing AEW does continues to do well is just their development of young talent by mixing them with established talent. They don't need to have like an NXT because they have their young rookie guys that are relatively unknown partnering right up with guys that they are openly saying, I grew up watching you and this is why I gravitate towards you, is because you're a hero of mine and now we're working in the same company together. Kind of like what they did with like Matt Sydal and Top Flight, things like that AEW has done. They've just been very smart about mixing their talent and adding in little details, having guys change over time, you know, like what Matt Hardy's done. There's a lot of that, and it's basically dedicating the time to telling each of these little arcs that maybe they're not important, maybe they don't, you know, go towards a title or, you know, have an end game as far as a major moment in AEW history, but it's all good television.
Yeah,
it's all fun to watch
because they are considered little arcs because they're meant to play they're meant to pick up a bigger picture of the young person's story. So, like for example, AEW Hangman teamed with Matt Hardy tonight. So I'm hoping like that's going to pay off to a bigger part of the story with Hangman being, you know, the lone cowboy in AEW. So,
well, you have Matt Hardy signing Private Party to a deal where he's getting 30% of their money. And them realizing Matt Hardy's kind of an asshole.
He's a carny.
Also listening to him and then realizing that they could kind of cheat a little bit, like he's been telling them to do, and that they'll get get a little farther. So like just that, you know, that advancement. There's things like that where you can just tell that every person's storyline is important and it's not throwaway shit. They're doing stuff to kind of develop everybody, you know.
So speaking of sorry, I wanted to quickly bring up the Matt Hardy thing. There's a lot of scuttlebutt on the Twitter. I don't think any of it was serious, maybe a little tongue in cheek, but we talked about laughing heartily at the golf cart spot. We can't ignore the elephant in the room that a golf cart spot happened a few months ago.
And it was amazing.
And was just as amazing. maybe I don't know which one was better at this point now, but
Kevin going through the cart was
I think
more amazing.
it's
But-
more extreme than
But
going through the
no,
windshield.
but that fucking visual of Kenny and Matt Hardy running Sammy down while fucking laughing outside of the cart like maniacs while they did it is
It's pretty great.
it's a moment
Well,
forever. Like I'll never forget that.
The ricochet that happens when Sammy makes contact with the cart,
Oh, yeah,
like
it's great.
that's a scene that lives rent free in my mind.
Oh, for sure.
Without a
So
doubt.
I just wanted to talk about it. Like we kind of glossed over it. And there's just some, some chat on Twitter about Matt Hardy, and I feel like he was in character, kind of saying like, oh, they're stealing things from me and whatever. And I've been the most creative thing and whatever.
Big money Matt.
And so I don't know. Do you think someone on the writing team thought, oh man, aren't they going to think AEW that we took this from them? Or did they just not know or not care?
That's an interesting question. I don't think they didn't know. There's no way you can't know, but maybe they are. Maybe they're that oblivious. I don't.
Hold on. So, as a person who doesn't watch sports,
No,
I was oblivious that a golf cart existed on a baseball stadium because Derek, I was sitting right next to Derek, and he said, "I just want to see a golf cart." And I was just looking at him like, why the fuck would you want to see a golf cart? And then we saw the golf cart and it made total sense. But because I don't know anything about baseball and how golf carts are used in baseball, I automatically went to the well that, they just ripped off AEW. They ripped off the Stadium Stampede.
Right.
Again, that's my fedora tipping a little bit.
I'm wondering. I mean, I feel like you could avoid it as talent maybe and not watch. They're not watching each other's shows, but that made the rounds on social media for sure.
Here's my favorite thing, though. Here's my favorite thing, Rand. The very next day, the WWE on Fox account proceeded to tweet out this video where they said Roman Reigns succeeded at what Kane failed to do almost 20 years ago at WrestleMania 17. And then they had a clip of the hardcore match where Kane is driving a golf cart around backstage, and he basically runs over Raven, who's about to be chokeslammed by Big Show.
Oh, but that's
you
reaching.
can tell
that is
reaching.
reaching.
Oh, no, it's totally reaching. It's
Mr.
totally
Fantastic
reaching.
reached there. Like, come on.
So
They're like, who's thinking about Raven getting hit with a golf cart by Kane in 2021?
Especially since I know the guy that runs the WWE on Fox
But
account. I know that motherfucker was like looking through his catalog.
Troll. Yeah, like it's a straight troll. I love it.
Was.
I appreciate it because it's straight humor to be like, oh man, that's what he was going for.
We're not acknowledging what that other show did, but
yeah,
we'll
you can't acknowledge it because
from
every tweet is saying, oh, you copied, they copied, and it's like, if you go back enough in the archives, WWE has probably done it before.
They're the Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
Simpsons
there you go.
You can find a fucking episode of The Simpsons that's done everything, right?
That's going to be the title of this episode. WWE is The Simpsons.
But
WWE did it. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I saw a lot of chat about it, and like I think Kenny Omega even was like, guys, like I'm happy for my friends over there. Like, relax. Like, stop tweeting me that they're ripping us off. Like, stop.
Yeah. Kenny Omega still seems like
Kenny's
a legitimately good dude.
Yeah,
right.
Because Kenny knows, like, there's wrestling that exists beyond. Beyond Florida. I had a brain fart because is WWE still in Florida or are they somewhere else?
Yeah,
it's still in Florida.
So he knows. Yeah, so he knows that it's in Florida and beyond. Therefore, they're bound to cross-pollinate ideas, right? It's only natural, but
it's
it
only
just
natural.
It comes down to the execution, what makes the most memorable, and that was pretty memorable. The Owens going through the cart was pretty damn memorable.
It was fucking awesome. Yeah, it was, and it doesn't make it any less awesome, even if they did steal it. To be honest, I don't give a shit. at the end of the day, for me, it's all about entertainment, and I got so much entertainment out of especially that spot that I don't give a shit. I think that, to be honest, there's a lot of things that people could complain about at times with WWE, especially them being very reactionary, right? WWE a long time ago used to kind of lead the way. They the only thing that they kind of copied off of was like pop culture and news and shit that was going on in the real world. You know, there was a lot of involving, you know, what was happening with whatever was happening with politics or newsworthy stories or whatever in WWE. But lately, to me, like when I look at the winners of the Royal Rumble, the winners of the Royal Rumble were Bianca Belair and Edge. Two people who had an amazing showing and an amazing performance in last year's Royal Rumble. Right? I mean, everybody was talking about Bianca and everybody was talking about Edge, despite the fact that either one of them won their respective Royal Rumbles. So now here we are a year later, and these are our winners, right? It's the same reason why I felt like Keith Lee had a good opportunity to be, you know, at least a big star in this one.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I was looking forward to that. I really
missed.
thought
Keith Lee
Keith Lee would have for sure. I mean, I loved Christian's, you know, return. I loved seeing him go at it and look very good and be a Final Four guy. And I feel like maybe Keith Lee would have maybe done that.
maybe.
Josh,
I'm going to say this about Christian is that him being there so long, because we talked about that when we were all together, right? Christian being there so long was just a way to like kind of
help Edge.
Right. Well, makes sense to people how Edge lasted so long, right? Because Edge was number 2 and he lasted until the end. So having his ride or die essentially there helping protect him the whole time made all the sense in the world as to how he lasted that long. That's one of those storytelling devices or you know, ideas that they had that I thought worked really well for me because that was understandable. I did see some backlash to that. Like people were like, why is he in there until the end?
Royal Rumble is the show where if anybody turns on anybody, it happens here. It's usually the alliance is turning to throw some to get an elimination.
However, Christian has been very vocal about wrestling casually. So if you listen to the podcast, like he's always been about that person, like, you know, he will pick his spots when he wants to wrestle.
But do you believe then, just based on what you said, do you think that he should have been a Final Four competitor as a casual wrestler then?
In order to elevate Edge, yes.
Okay, that's fair.
Because again, put your fedoras on. If you listen to the Pod of Awesome with Christian and Edge, you would know that he's only ever talked about wrestling very casually, not taking it seriously. And if he was going to come back to wrestling, it'd be for something big. And you know, he's always been someone who to help elevate Edge. You know, is Christian in the Hall of Fame?
Yes,
should be.
He is.
He's not yet, is he?
He's not. I'm pretty sure.
No,
he is.
well, I don't think he is.
Let me check.
I don't think he is.
Someone in my Discord made a joke that the WWE Hall of Fame is the WWE website of fame because it's not a real place.
Therefore, he's continuing to help elevate because again, he knows that the story isn't surrounding him; it's surrounding Edge. Therefore, he's going to help his best friend, you know, obtain the next level.
Correct.
Because he knows that it's not about him. He's a company guy.
Yeah, I guess he is not. He inducted Edge, but I don't know why I thought I saw him.
Put your fedora on, homie.
Yeah, he needs to be in there. He needs to be in there.
He definitely deserves to be in there.
And
Josh,
the next thing I was gonna say,
I mean, Hillbilly Jim is in there for God's sakes.
Come on. Who is everybody's? Does everybody have an MVP of the Royal Rumble? Josh, go.
The men's Royal
Rumble?
Rumble?
That was fast. Yeah, men's Royal Rumble.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, if it's not Edge, I don't know who to pick. Quite honestly,
who helped elevate the Royal Rumble for you? Who was fun to watch?
I will say, based on the way things played out, Randy Orton, his presence early on, and then his disappearance, like him just living in the back of my head, like for the entirety of the Royal Rumble, like that had quite an impact, and I thought that made the finish particularly cool. I mean, obviously made the finish particularly cool because I don't know, I think a lot of us kind of figured Randy Orton was going to win it as opposed to Edge.
Yeah.
No chance that Edge is going to win this thing, right? Like, you know, his comeback story is kind of fun, but it's not that.
Yeah.
But then it was, and that just made it fucking fantastic. So I don't know if pressed to make a pick, I guess I would say Randy Orton in that regard.
Ran? MVP?
MVP. I mean, yeah, if not the winner, who do you call an MVP? As much as I hate to say it, I think who had a really good showing, which shows me, I think if this has any bearing on future plans, I don't know, but Matt Riddle had a really good showing. You know, whether we hate him or not, he was there a long time, and him and Daniel Bryan had a really good sequence. That stands out to me. The fact that he was around so long and holding his own with established guys lets me know that they have plans for that guy.
Before you speak, Derek, what Rand said, that's what I was. All right, your turn.
Matt Riddle?
Yep.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with that just because, I mean, we said it a long time ago about Matt Riddle. We knew Matt Riddle was going to be that guy when he got to the main roster. He has everything that WWE and specifically Vince McMahon is looking for, right? He's super good looking. He has a great physique. He's charismatic. He has a character, and
he can wrestle. He can wrestle.
He can wrestle his ass off, right? I think going back to what Rand said, I don't think they care about the controversy facing him. I think they're very aware of it, or else they would not have just changed his name to fucking Riddle. That's by no stretch of the imagination is that a coincidence that he went through, you know, this situation and they shortened it up. I know they love to do that with guys' names, but holy shit,
why they did that.
Oh yeah, they definitely did that shit.
Yeah, they're thinking about the Google results, you know.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They type in WWE Riddle, that'll come up, but not necessarily the other stuff. Yeah,
right. But my MVP of the Royal Rumble has to be Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
yes. Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
You know why? Because everybody fucking had such a problem with him being there, despite the fact that so many people had no clue who he was. I think what Ryan Satin said on Fox was very relevant, even though he got a lot of heat for it, about if you say you don't know who he is, then you're just showing that you don't know a lot about modern music and
you're admitting ignorance. Yeah, I feel like we're like the exception to that rule here. We're like, yeah, Bad Bunny, that was fucking awesome.
It was fucking awesome. Not only was it not only was his performance great, and the whole thing with Booker T showing up as fucking GI Bro was fucking awesome, right?
That performance was fantastic. I was just cracking up at Booker T the whole time.
In case you don't know this, there is a music video that exists that's exactly like that. It's the exact same shit. It's great. It's just him and Booker T singing about Booker T.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. He there's this thing that celebrities do where they look out of place when they come into the WWE world. And that goes for a lot of people, right? We saw Snoop Dogg on AEW do one of the worst fucking splashes anybody's ever seen. And
Bad Bunny had a slipping splash. It was a slipping splash.
That was still dangerous.
That was dangerous.
Right. But I definitely think there was something about him that looked like he belonged. Like he didn't fucking.
Well, even on Monday, he made his presence known with Damian Priest.
Yep.
Wow.
And of course,
shout out to
obviously Damian Priest and Bad Bunny and me. It's all the small island thing.
It made a lot of sense. I think he would have been my second pick, honestly, is Damian Priest. I think he looked great. We all popped big time when he got in there. He eliminated the guy with the most eliminations in the freaking history of the thing.
Why
not? So if that doesn't say they got plans, then nothing does. So I was really happy to see him. I didn't catch Raw, but do you guys think is Damian Priest moving up, or what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, he was on
there
Raw.
on Monday.
Yep.
Oh, well, heck yeah.
Edge walked up to him and gave him a pound and was like, "We need more guys like you up here," and walked away.
Huh.
So that to me was kind of like the Keith Lee segment where Keith Lee came into Triple H and did the "I'll go fight this motherfucker for you" bit, right? Like it's just they wouldn't have him do something like that if it wasn't an endorsement in a small way, right? That was Edge being totally cool with giving his endorsement on Damian Priest. And by the way, this is the most with Carlito and the Royal Rumble, it's most Puerto Ricans we've had since Las Boricuas, right?
This is the most Puerto Rican Royal Rumble.
So
yeah.
Damian Priest, Carlito, new faction, Los Boricuas.
Yeah,
Let's
fucking
go.
Bad Bunny can
Bad Bunny is the manager.
Bad Bunny.
I'm all about that.
Just call one of the colognes back up. Why not?
I know, why
Wow.
not?
That's great.
One of them has to still be in good shape. I don't know. Tostones are a motherfucker. All right, so overall, what were your guys' thoughts? Did you think that these were the right people to win? Josh, I'll start with you.
I think Bianca Belair, hands down, is the right person to win. I really can't complain about Edge. Like, it's one of those kind of out of left field. I did not see that actually happening. I had all sorts of other picks from Daniel Bryan to Big E. And I was disappointed when they got eliminated, but I wasn't like disappointed as in like just giving up on the whole damn match. I was cool with it. So I'm fine. I'm good. And I guess I'm curious to see how things are going to play out. I think it seems fairly obvious that Bianca is going to be going after Sasha, and that's going to be fire AF at Mania this year. And Edge seems to be sort of slow playing this thing. Like, what is he gonna do? Maybe that could change this Friday with Roman Reigns, but I don't know. He seems to be kind of like playing this whole "you'll know when you know."
Maybe
he's got a couple of months. He's got a couple of months to play the long game.
Yeah.
And if he does it the right way, the smart way, he doesn't need to be in every episode of WWE. He should take a week off. It's not a big deal.
Honestly, I think that would be for the best. Like the formula that we've had for I don't know how many years now is right after the Royal Rumble, we kind of know what the main event is for WrestleMania. We know what the other championship match is probably going to be. We know how everything's going to stack out, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, we don't need that. Suspend my disbelief. Suspend it.
Well, and it makes, because they have two pay-per-views in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it makes those seem worthless. Two? Elimination Chamber and Fastlane are both, or Payback or whatever the fuck. I don't know. They're one of those other ones named something like that. Right. So, and like you said, the bigger
Goldberg
problem
will come
is
back.
It just it makes me go, what do I need to watch these for? Like, you're not going to do anything major. At least make me feel like something could happen in between there, and then I would feel differently about that, like you said.
Yeah.
Not setting a WrestleMania opponent the first week after Royal Rumble would be helpful. Giving it a little time. It definitely feels like at this point we're going to end up seeing Edge versus Roman and Drew versus Sheamus, but I don't know if that Drew versus Sheamus match is just something that's going to potentially happen at the next show. Right. So we got Sheamus turning on Drew, which is an obvious, thing that we saw, like we talked about earlier. It's a trope. We saw it coming. We knew it was going to come. I would like to say this though. Sheamus and Drew's friendship is not fake. When I interviewed Drew for this fucking dumbass wrestling podcast network a few years ago, Sheamus was just sitting there in the background.
Minutes of the Mayor?
Yes, with Minutes with the Mayor.
That shows the shits.
Before we started talking, he was like, Sheamus just got here. And I was like, well, do you want to do this some other time? And he was like, no, it's fine. He'll just sit here and wait for me to be done. So I did feel this extra level of pressure that Sheamus was listening to this entire interview, because I'm pretty sure he did it on like speakerphone or whatever, but whatever. Neo, what are your thoughts on the winners? Did you think that they got it right?
They got Bianca right. I wanted Daniel Bryan to win just because I want to see him with his flowers and I want him to ride off into the sunset. as it was kind of spelled out for all of us.
Yeah.
But Edge winning is just as good. I'm not mad at it. So I just don't want him to be on every WWE show from here till WrestleMania.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that they're laying the groundwork now for Daniel Bryan to win it next year? Since they seemingly do that.
If he has another year left in him, why not? You know, if he has another year left in him, give me that.
Be still my heart, man. Especially by that time, you know, crowds at shows are a thing again. Like that is what Daniel Bryan thrives on, and that would be a fantastic way for him to finish his run. Yes.
And then we would get that at WrestleMania in LA, which we will all be in attendance at. So yes, I'm 100% for that. Mega Ran, your thoughts on the winners of the Royal Rumble matches?
I think we still have a chance for Daniel Bryan to have a great moment, but I would have loved to see it. I mean, they could do an elimination chamber. He could win that and wrestle for whatever belt, you know, anytime. Like the other belt, whatever he doesn't, you know, Edge doesn't challenge for is still open. So that could still be a thing. But I wanted to see Big E, but I realized it's too soon. We're not ready yet for that. So I'm okay with it. I wanted to see, you know, I guess I'm so happy for the women's result that I don't mind the men's result. I guess that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Because a lot can still happen. So
let me ask you this, just because this is a feeling I had a few years ago when they had Asuka and Shinsuke win both Rumbles. Would you feel like it was, let's say Big E did win it, would you feel like there was a little bit of pandering going on there if they did have, you know, winners of both Royal Rumbles be black on a year when we've had so much racial diversity and so many
in Black History Month?
In Black History Month?
At the top of Black History Month. Well, if it's one thing that I think, or any people that need to be pandered to, I think it's minorities in general when it comes to pro wrestling. So I'm not mad at that. You know, I was just reading about how Rey Mysterio's run on SmackDown made SmackDown like the #1 show in Latino households.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like him and that's probably why him and Eddie got such a, you know, great push at that time. You know, it's because obviously people were watching for these guys. So, you know, if the bottom line is dollars at the end of the day, whatever. But I think part of me might have felt like maybe a little pandery, but I wouldn't have minded at all.
Yeah,
because these are deserving people.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even have minded if there was like at least another Latino in the top 4, but we didn't even get that. In fact, the Latino presence was
Charlotte.
Was only it was like Charlotte.
It was Charlotte,
and it was Damian and Carlito. And I mean, I don't think did Dominic enter the Royal Rumble?
Yeah,
he did. He was in really briefly.
Okay, but did Ray enter the Royal Rumble?
No. Hey, you gotta put some respect on Bailey's name, okay? Pamela Rose Martinez.
That's right. That's right. And
put
Pam.
some respect on
she acts like such a Karen, though. Okay. She acts like such a Karen that
we disown her. We disown her.
Yeah,
we disown her.
Is a Karen, but put some respect on Aunt Pam, okay?
Where was the segment where I saw the little Victoria advertisement?
That was Rey Mysterio. That's what I was about to say. Like, I
was in the Rumble.
Yeah. That was Rey Mysterio. He had the Victoria logo on his mask. His entire presence in the Rumble was sponsored by Victoria.
Victoria
popped up on the screen.
Because when I saw that logo,
Some of the guys were like, "What's Victoria?" I'm like, "It's a beer."
Beer.
Yeah, Rock didn't know either.
When I saw that logo, I got thirsty. And
I've never heard of a segment of the Royal Rumble being sponsored. Like everything's for sale right now.
It's fucking dope. I want more of this. It's like NBA teams having the logos of like companies.
Yeah, we're talking like the entrances would be sponsored. You know, everybody's kind of got their own thing going.
Oh man, Matt Riddle could be sponsored by MedMen. That would be great.
Well, I mean, Brock Lesnar was sponsored by Jack's Beef Links. Why
Jimmy
not?
John's.
Like it's not bad. Like,
So
yeah,
they'll be
Jimmy
like, oh
John's.
man, Sasha Banks is coming down the Starburst ramp. This is here she comes. Just
This
look at
wrestler is officially brought to you by Takis.
She's coming down the fire steps of Taki Mania.
Man,
hey, you know, why not? Let's
sell out. Get your
some
money.
logos. I mean, if it gets the talent some money, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I mean that's how sports are. Like we see our NBA teams these days; they got logos on their jerseys. And when you watch pro wrestling, you know you got Mexican pro wrestling, you got Japanese pro wrestling. There's logos all over the place.
Man, the wildest shit ever was when I played high school basketball in Puerto Rico. Our court had advertisements all over it. Our fucking court, you know, the key, the like everything, because it was like local businesses, and it was the same kind of thing. Like, just hey, people are going to be in here. Might as well put our company, you know, phone number or logo on this court or something.
Totally.
It's definitely not the worst until it gets looking like a WNBA jersey. I don't know if you guys have seen WNBA jerseys lately.
Sorry,
but holy shit,
the team isn't even on there now.
The team's not even on there. There are more fucking advertisements on the front of a WNBA jersey than there are acknowledgements of what team this person plays for.
To be fair, the WNBA is struggling mightily, and you talk about, you know, NXT guys making 50 grand. I don't even know if WNBA players make that.
Man.
For real, man. And I mean, again, you talk about women's sports not being taken seriously or not being embraced. Again, this comes back to WWE for all the flack that they've taken, for all the fucking bra and panty matches they've had. Women's wrestling is legitimate, and it is just wrestling now, and I give them a credit for that. Like this Royal Rumble match, there wasn't one single, with the exception of Rock continuously dying for Trish Stratus to come out during this match. There was no lusting. There was no thirst going on during this match.
Well, Tony Storm. When Tony Storm came out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I did hear a little bit of that.
Lust in your eyes, brother.
Yeah.
With the twinkle in my eye, I watched Tony Storm walk down that aisle.
I'm guilty. Styling and profile. All right. So, yeah. We've advanced a little bit, but I did want to say that I think what they did on Raw was interesting. I think some of the moving forward, even if some of it seems a little transparent, does seem like they're moving things in the right direction. And they had a good payoff match. I get not really a good payoff match, but Edge and Randy Orton finally had a final match that resulted in what looks like The Fiend is going to continue to fuck with Randy Orton. Wouldn't be surprised to see Randy Orton versus The Fiend at WrestleMania, along with Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Seems like the direction they're heading, but could be wrong. Who knows? AEW, meanwhile, had one of their non-pay-per-view dynamites this week. I still don't know what it's called.
So good.
But it was a very enjoyable show. Beach Break.
Break Beach.
And it honestly had one of, like, I'm not even a fan of multi-man tag matches, but it was one of the best fucking televised multi-man matches I've seen ever.
You obviously don't watch New Japan because there's lots of multi-man tag matches.
I know there are, but this was very good.
In American primetime TV, we don't see a lot of them that are worthwhile, and this one felt like a pay-per-view match. For sure.
It was incredible. Incredible match, incredible show all around. I thought they did a great job of advancing things. I missed on last week where apparently FTR cut the horns off of Luchasaurus. That was very funny to me.
Yeah, man. That was shady.
There's a lot of things going on. The thing, though, once again, that I will commend AEW on is they just have so many plot lines going on. They have so many stories going on. They've developed them. They've put time into all of them. They've added layers. I don't know if you guys know this, but Sting revealed that Darby was his son. I don't know. Sting has a kid now. Taz has 5 kids. By the way, Taz's son Hook has done like one thing wrestling wise, and I already think he's going to be the best like pro wrestling child in the history of pro wrestling. I could be wrong
like
about
a
that.
badass.
He's such a badass.
He just looks like a
Yeah,
kid.
he looks super badass.
Like if he was at the mall and he was looking at me,
right?
like, you know what?
But
Fuck
then
that kid.
but you know he could kick it. You know he could probably kick your ass, so you don't want to fuck with him.
Yeah.
I'd immediately go for the groin if that kid came up to me. I'd immediately go for the groin.
Yeah, that's all you can do, or the eyes. Go for the eyes and the groin at the same time. I appreciated the fact that AEW not only continues to develop this like ongoing relationship with Impact and other wrestling organizations, but they threw a wrinkle into it with like Kenny
who?
Omega. Well, we got Kenny Omega already working with AAA, and obviously the working relationship with Impact is there. The Good Brothers are on AEW television now almost every week, and Private Party will be challenging the Good Brothers for their Impact tag team championships. So that's exciting. But
did you see I mean, not to cut you off, did you see the closing or post-show challenge Kenny made?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. No,
yeah, on social media.
That was kind of brain-breaking. He
okay, what happened?
Yeah, Kenny just tried to talk to Kenta. Kenta said, "Yo, get out of here. I'm not."
No, he didn't say that.
I'm sorry. What did he say, Neo?
Wait, first, before we get to that, Kenta showed up on AEW and fucking gave fucking Jon Moxley the GTS, which was just fucking awesome.
Oh, it was a terrible GTS.
It was a pretty bad GTS.
I don't care how bad it is. He was probably as excited as I was to be there. It's exciting, man. I mean, I'm gonna just
keep it. I just want to keep the energy balance, man. The last 2 or 3 Dynamites have not been good to me. This one I felt like dragged on a little bit, but got really better in the second half.
Fucker.
I'm just being honest, dude. It wasn't.
And I'm being honest too. I just said this fucker.
I don't think that's being honest. I think that's being biased.
Yeah, it's antagonistic.
No, it's not, because you try to compare that to something else. What else has been good?
I'm just being honest that I haven't really been into the last like 3 episodes. This one, about halfway through, I was like, oh man, this is kind of dragging. But there was 2 really good matches, that brought it up for me. But like the end, of course, takes it over the top. But I was a little worried, I was like, come on, man. Like I'm really in on this. I'm really in on AEW. And I love what they're doing. But like, I was worried that this was going to be another snooze fest episode, and it was not.
And then Orange Cassidy popped out of a cake. Right? Yeah. We got a classic wedding segment. What more do you need?
That's what made Mega Rant snooze, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was exciting.
Rusev's been there before. He knew what was happening. He didn't want some girl coming down and saying she loved the bride. He didn't want somebody popping out of a giant package. He knows better. He's been there before.
Mm-hmm. He's been there before.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, some things kind of fall a bit flat at times. I think AEW has just too much talent, which is weird to say, but
But you just said a couple of minutes ago that they're doing the best job incorporating stories for each of these talent lines.
Oh, what I'm saying is that they still have a lot of very top. They're going to suffer from the same thing WWE suffers from after a while. There's going to be guys that they just don't get into the main event title picture.
The only thing that was weird about AEW tonight was Lance Archer popping up on he's been popping up every week trying to become the babyface.
Yeah, it's feeling like,
and that's probably it. Yeah. Outside of that, like, it's still been pretty great TV wrestling to watch.
And he's still with Jake the Snake, who Jake just doesn't feel like he's on board with Lance Archer being this way, but he just goes out there to go through the motions.
Yeah.
I was also a little confused as to where Pentagon is. Wouldn't Pentagon have been is he injured? Okay.
He's injured.
Because Pentagon hasn't of everybody, I think Pentagon's AEW run has been one of the most disappointing.
Well, right? It's because he's been injured, and that's why you had Pac and Phoenix with Moxley.
And that makes sense. It's just one of those things that Pentagon has been somewhat irrelevant the entire time he's been at AEW.
Well, this is a pro Pentagon show, and
absolutely.
to see Pentagon not get his just due, it's disappointing. I've been an adamant advocate for Pentagon, but yeah, like if he's injured, he's injured. What are you gonna do?
If he's injured, he's injured. You know, I hate to say, I feel like we might have seen Pentagon's best work at this point.
That's what I think with you.
Kind of makes us, sad.
Right.
You know.
I think that we all expect him to be better than he was.
Well, and the fact that it was fucking wasted against fighting against his brother. Like, why? Like, give him the title. I guess that's just me speaking because I got a little buzz going on, but give him the title because Pentagon deserves all the titles.
Here's what I know, and I'll speak on this from information I was told, right? One of the things I found to be disappointing about Pentagon was I found out when we went to PWG Bola a few years ago that he was actively just taking it easy because he had signed with AEW, and he was even telling guys essentially that he was working with that he wasn't going to do those spots that someone like Pentagon is known for, right? What's wild is someone like Pentagon is known for being like insane in his time with Lucha Underground, willing to break arms, set people on fire, fucking have hardcore matches, literally do anything it takes to win. A lot of that is what made people love him. And so now I just sometimes worry, like, we've seen him fucking do that same shit in PWG. Like, that's what, kind of made the Lucha Brothers a thing, was these incredible matches him and Phoenix had together in PWG as a tag team. Outside of that, I don't know if they even were a tag team anywhere else before they started doing that for PWG. It was incredible, but then to hear just a few years later that now he's taking it easy at that same show that essentially made them break out as kind of independent stars because he's been signed to AEW, it was a little disappointing to me. It's kind of the aura of Pentagon, right? He has an incredible aura. So to hear that, it kind of ruins that mystique. It'd be the same thing like if you heard Undertaker fucking be like, "Nah, I'm gonna take it easy." I don't feel like being lit on fire tonight. That kind of shit.
Undertaker, I'd understand a little more just because of all the years he's given. And
that's a ridiculous comparison to make. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying
different, but I see what you're saying now.
But he's like, he's known for being hardcore. He's known for fucking like doing very extreme things, having, very fucking dangerous matches. And, it kind of makes sense. The last thing you want to do is have some sort of major injury right before you start going to tape a brand new television show that's going to start, right? I mean,
a part of me, that really could be a part of it, but just I thought another thing that I've heard some people chat about is that it may be a situation where they signed to AEW as the Lucha Bros, and so they might be thinking, all right, if you want a Penta run, we got to renegotiate.
Oh yeah, no, that's true too.
And that could be what I was thinking too, like where he's like, too. Oh, you got to cough up, for me to get back out there and have those crazy matches.
On the flip side of that, Phoenix has just been absolutely killing it. He fucking killed it in the main event tonight. He just does things that, like, I don't know, man. I've started to realize he's the catalyst in a lot of the matches I've watched that he was involved with that really made things pop off, especially in this match. I think that this match was a very good match, but his particular effort in it made it that like what you were saying, like a pay-per-view level match, that 5-star level. He was just going fucking full speed. Like at times I couldn't believe the shit he was doing, just going to, like, it literally reminds me of PWG. They say that they shouldn't go that fast on TV because we won't pick it up. I've heard all this shit. Obviously, there's the stuff about getting injured and all of that. Phoenix didn't give a fuck about any of that tonight. This motherfucker was in full-on PWG main event, night one mode, where you're just putting it all on the line just fucking because. For no other reason, just because. Like, he killed it. It was a tremendous match. And the Kenta surprise at the end was really that thing, kind of like I was talking about earlier, where it was just an incredible surprise and one of those things that WWE can't do anymore. As you know, they just can't have a surprise like that any longer.
Well, WWE's playing with a different deck of cards. You know what I mean? Like they got talent, and then they got corporate sponsors, and then they got NBC watching, and then they got, you know what I mean? Like, so many people are watching to see the valuation of this show and of this product. And I think because of that, they have to do what they can to get eyes on. So that means they got to tell you that Edge and Randy Orton are going to start the show, you know, things like that.
Right.
Not to say they can't do a surprise. I mean, there's been rumors flying about CM Punk quarantining for some reason. I don't know if you've seen this, but yeah, like there's a lot of rumors swirling, you know, so that would be great. But
that's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
You know, so like, you know, like we want to see Ronda and other folks. I mean, do you think they would announce Ronda at this point?
I don't know, man.
I feel like they would have to. You know? Like,
I mean, I feel like they would announce anybody. I don't feel like they do the secretive thing anymore, but
I would
guess
rather have Becky with Ronda.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, good point. Good point. But yeah, I think I just think they're playing with a different mindset. Like, AEW is fighting WWE to be the best wrestling product. WWE is looking at corporate America to offset the monies that they're not getting from filling stadiums. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a great point.
I think they're at a different competition level, you know?
Right.
And so
and
they're not thinking
Peacock
about
that
like,
Peacock deal is going to help. You know, it's going to make it more mainstream with that group of people.
Yeah. I kind of think with that's what it is. I think they're just playing on a different field.
You're right.
But you know. Oh, so at the end, Kenny says, "Oh no, Neo, could you share what happened at the end of Dynamite after
Kenta says, fuck you. I'm not your friend. I'm here to beat up Jon Moxley."
Yeah, they tried to get it too sweet. No luck. Then,
but go ahead, Rand. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. So Kenny starts talking to the camera guy and was like, you know what, Tony Khan, make a match. You know what, make a tag team match because I'm tired of Lance Archer butting this.
And you know what? Make it unsanctioned.
Make it unsanctioned. Do what you gotta do. I'll get Kenta. Don't worry. I'll make Kenta come and be my partner. So me and Kenta versus Archer and Moxley next week. Book it. And he leaves. And I'm like,
yeah, this is coming from the guy who's talking about AEW's been running flat. Let's go.
Dude, they had to bring in somebody from another company to spark some things up.
It was bound to happen.
Dude,
it's smart. Big. It's smart. It's huge, and it's only going to lead to more New Japan AEW crossover. I think.
Again, the portal.
AEW is brilliant. The portal is open.
The multiverse. The portal is happening right now.
That's right.
So,
oh man, it's exciting.
The possibilities are endless, dude. Endless. I just want John Silver versus Tanahashi. And I'll be happy.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
I'd rather have John Silver versus Ishii, and that's it.
Okay. Ishii would be great too.
I just want John Silver as Adam Hangman Page's sidekick for the rest of time. I don't care what else happens. I just want the two of them together. I want him to be like Don Quixote, and then Silver can be his Sancho Panza.
I'm all for that.
Or just have
I think we just all want more John Silver.
Have John Silver versus like everybody in Los Ingobernables. Why not? Yes.
So Evil Uno just tweeted, "We want LIJ." So
whoa.
So it's yeah. This is getting out of control.
It's out of control.
Exactly. My point exactly.
And that's what's fun. That's what WWE can never do right now. It just, you know, I mean, we could say things about NXT guys coming over or SmackDown Raw. It's never going to be as exciting as this. It's never going to be.
No.
So AEW
again,
is just killing it.
Because again, the formula is on the wall. Do you want to be Ricochet or do you want to be Drew Gulak?
I don't like that. I don't like
I
those
hate that
verbs.
these
I don't
are
like
now.
those.
That's a
these are
verb.
Those are, I hate
are
those.
verbs.
I hate those.
I hate that.
those.
I remember, like, I shed a single tear watching Humberto Carrillo chase down R-Truth during during the Women's
my
Royal Rumble.
I thought he was injured.
I
Right.
come from Boyle Heights, and you have Ricochet getting the best Irish wrestler in the brand.
Hey, at least we had him versus Johnny Mundo for like 5 minutes in the middle of the Rumble.
Yeah.
Let's get winners of the weekend before you guys need to go. Rand, I'm going to start with you. Can I get your winner of the week?
I'm going to say the winner of the week by far, the EST, Bianca Belair.
That's it.
Very good pick.
No explanation needed.
We don't need an explanation.
Neo, you're up.
I'm going to give it up to Kenny Omega because he will have Kenta. He will extend the olive branch to Kenta and have Kenta on AEW next week because Bullet Club is fine. Bullet Club's fine.
Bullet Club's fine. Bullet Club is fine. Joshua Slag.
I got to repeat. I got to go with Bianca.
Hard not to.
Yep.
Unless you go with my pick, which is Carlito, because obviously, for all the fucking reasons.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. Did you see his tweet saying like he thinks he might just hang it up because of the way social media treats these returns?
Yeah, no shit.
It's like one week they were like, "Yo, glad they brought Carlito." The next week, why is Carlito still here?
Wait, why is he still here? This was fun for a night.
He has an Apple contract. He has an Apple contract.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He came out on Raw without the Apple, and he had this weird thing where he was like, "Oh, what do I do without it now?" Like he was like missing it in his hand.
Oh no!
He came out without the apple.
That's
he didn't
weird.
even. He didn't even spit the apple at the Rumble.
It's COVID. He can't spit in people's face.
You can't spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Hey,
COVID, Josh.
If you've had the test, you've been cleared. If you're
the
wrestling
worst time
people,
for him to come back. He can't spit in people's face.
The vaccine.
That's part of the gimmick now, man.
Oh man.
Yeah,
it's called herd immunity is what it's called. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 434 of the Steel Cage podcast. You can get us all on Twitter. Mega Rand is at Mega Rand. Neo is at the Neo X. That's ECKS at the end. Josh is at Schlizzag with a couple of Z's in there. And I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. But of course, all roads lead to at the Steel Cage. Check us out. Send us an email. We will read them. We promise. That's podcast at thesteelcageshop.com. Or wait, no, podcast at the Steel Cage Shop. Thesteelcageshop.com is a completely different thing. That's where you can get all of our t-shirts and that shitty one that Josh made just to upset me. Those are all available. And of course, they're the king of soft style. And please check out Beak's store, even though Beak is not with us.
No, fuck that guy.
No, we are still going to divert attention to his Teespring store. Wait,
T-Bubble.
Public? Is it T-Bubble? No, T-Bubble isn't a thing. You're just
Pentagonzo.com.
It's pentagonzo.com, regardless of where you want to find those t-shirts. But we thank you guys so much for listening to episode 434 of the Steel Cage. And remember, kids, Carlito he can't spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. It's COVID. He can't do it anymore.
Eat apples to get abs.
Yeah, you push me to the limit.